3. Hey, how you doing?
It's the Allan and HOOSTAN show.
Allan and HOOSTAN. This is a brand new show we're doing.
Yeah. Series of podcasts.
I don't know. It's phone time. God damn it!
Sorry. We'll redo it. Hold on.
No, it's fun. So it's all part of the ambiance.
Okay.
We gotta add some humor into this. That's the best part. We could joke around.
So yeah, we'll be doing a podcast. Just something laid back, nothing serious. We'll just talk about various things. Today, we're going to be talking about and giving our insight on the Halloween Ends trailer.
Yep.
Released today. We watched it in advance so we can get some background so we can do our discussions. So yeah, and we'll probably talk about some other things.
Yep.
So hope you guys enjoy and feel free to add stuff in the comments with your thoughts and insights. So, all right. So who wants to start off with their thoughts?
Well, I think the first thing we should mention is that this film is set to talk about the beep virus that happened a few years ago at this point. You know, I know that it has a lot of the fans divided.
It's going to. I heard. I mean, they're saying that it may divide the fans. I hope that the idea that David Gordon Green he wants to do of focusing it around that time. I hope he doesn't do it because to me personally, that's just going to ruin. You know, this is a franchise that's supposed to bring people on the edge of their seat. It's supposed to bring people together, and you know, you can have like a good time. You know, you shit your pants, obviously, but I just think that if that idea of COVID like mixes in with the story, I just feel like it will be a less enjoyable movie because I just want to see Michael Myers doing what he does best on Halloween night in his white mask and coveralls and the knife and just killing people. I just think that, you know, I really hope we really can't tell. I mean, we did get a lot of not info directly, but we got a lot of, you know, different shots and different scenes, you know, from this trailer that we'll talk about. So we just get right into it.
I agree. I think with that out of the way, the most controversial thing that ties this thing down, we can go and move past that and on to the actual thoughts of the trailer.
All right. I don't know if you wanted to go first, and then.
Well, I think the way it starts off was very interesting. There were a lot of callbacks to the original franchise, so I think that this trailer, it really kind of. It just brought a lot of callbacks. Like I like the knife that he like pinned someone to a wall. Like I think that was a good callback to a lot of the older films, like in 6.
And then in the original,
In the original, I think he did something similar in 2018 as well. I don't really remember too well.
I don't think there was one in 2018, was there?
Was there not?
No.
But he did a similar kill in 2 as well, with the scalpel.
Yeah, but he just raises the person. You're talking about like the pinning on the wall.
Yeah. So, but it's good to see that he's back to the forceful lifting things. Like I think that's very interesting. I think we're gonna have a very cunning Michael in this this finale. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of see it. I know in like past movies, especially with James Jude Courtney, who honestly now is, I mean, come on, everyone in the Halloween universe can say this is unarguably probably the greatest Michael besides Nick Castle. I'm not discrediting Nick Castle. I love Nick Castle. He will forever be the Shape. When it comes to Michael Myers, I feel like, you know, James Jude Courtney really is like that second, like, guy on the pedestal. I mean, I think that, you know, the fact that he may be more cunning because in the past ones he is, like 2018, like the way he appears and then disappears and then he just comes back from the shadows and everything. It kind of like, you know, like what you said earlier when we first talked about how everything from the trailer kind of like there were scenes where it nods to the original. And it will be really interesting because, you know, seeing movies like H2O with Chris Duran and, how he was a Michael who, first and foremost, let me just say this real quick. Chris Duran is an underrated Michael. Watching H2O from a first setting, I know he's watched it twice now, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think, people with Chris Duran and, they kind of nod the original Nick Castle. Like, is necessarily not, like, gore heavy, not, like, intense. He's smart, but he's laid back. Like, he'll hide in the shadows, and then, like, he'll appear one where. Another interesting thing now, going back to James Hugh Courtney real quick. I watched a video on, a lot of people may know, but for people who don't know, there's this guy named James A. Janice called Dead Meat, where he does, like, kill counts and stuff. He did a video where him and his girlfriend were at this hotel, like, they're celebrating. It was a convention for celebrating, like, 40 years of Halloween, but all the other ones. And he would go around and interview all the Michaels, the people who played Michael Myers, to see what their favorite kill was. And when it came to James Hugh Courtney, who played him in 2018 in Kills and Now Ends, and when James asked him, who also had the name to be James, he asked, like, what was your favorite kill? And the fact that he said he liked Nick Castle's kill in the pantry, I think that, shows that he respects Nick Castle and respects the franchise. So I'm really interested to see how he does in Halloween Ends. He was great in 2018. I remember I watched that first time ever. I was blown away. Like, that was probably, and it is still, the best reboot or the best sequel they ever did. He was kind of like a newer gen version of Nick Castle, but it was way good. Like, he was able to do a hybrid of everything. And Kills was great. Even though I'm not a really fan of Kills, I know it's going to be a controversial topic for a lot of people. Because I love the Kills. I love the mask, the look of Michael with the half-burnt mask. And, like, the 1978 flashback sequences. I know it wasn't James Hugh Courtney. It was another person, but that sequence was good. But besides that, yeah, James Hugh Courtney is great. I really am really interested to see how he is. Now, figured, we bring that up with James Hugh Courtney. I feel like we can talk about the next, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's going to be probably an interesting twist to the story. Now, when they released the synopsis for the story, they mentioned a new character that I feel like no one's ever heard before. This Corey Cunningham guy. A lot of people are saying he's going to be like working with Michael because in the trailer they were showing like unusual things about Michael that a lot of people kind of caught on to and felt, oh wait, that's not Michael. So we may think, and a lot of people are thinking, and we both think it, that this Corey Cunningham guy is going to be a copycat killer. I don't know why. We don't know why, but there was just some things in the trailer, especially a lot of the dialogue that he says. Like, there was one scene, and I don't know if you remember, at the point when he's on the stairs, it's like, what do you think is going to happen when Michael comes back? Because he will come or something like that. So it kind of made me like, wait a minute, how does he know? How does he know Michael's going to come back? So I feel like he's going to have something to do with it. But so far, seeing Michael, like, seems a little more deadly and more gruesome, but again, that's just a first glance at the trailer. So far, I think he was more gruesome in Kills and 2018, but with Kills, it'll be interesting to see how he is. Like what he was saying, I liked the elements from the original, like when they show the flashback sequence, like the infamous scene where Laurie finished stabbing Michael and she was by this doorway. She thought he was dead. You could faintly see it in the background. He gets up, puts his mask on. They do that again in the trailer. They do a lot of things nodding to the original. So I think that's amazing that they did that. I'm hoping I'm hoping for some more character development, if you would agree.
I agree. But from who? Just in general, all across the board?
Probably all across the board. I know Lindsay's making a return because we all know what happened in Kills, where she got attacked and she got sent to the hospital. That's it. No one's ever seen of her or heard from her ever again for that movie, and she's back because she works at the bar that was in Kills. So it would be interesting to see how she will be, because like I remember watching her in '78 when she, her being little, and now she's all grown up. So it would be interesting to see. I hope she gets more screen time. I'm really interested to see, and you may agree with me, maybe Allison may get some more screen time and some character development. Lori, first and foremost, the best final girl ever. I want to see her do this her last performance with a bang. You know,
I agree.
I hope it's going to be good. But yeah, really, Lindsay Wallace is a character that I hope can get more screen time and maybe a better character development. That's just me. I don't know if you had.
No, I agree with you. I'm trying to think. If we could pretend like this screen right here is us watching the trailer, what would the response be?
Like, if we just watched it for the first time ever, even if we...
Yep. Like, would you be like, huh? Or like, how would you be with it?
I would be like a mix. I was like, oh my God, but it's like, I kind of like would be like, because there was like little details, there were some things about it that I was trying to pay attention to a lot of it. I'm not saying they threw a lot, but they
there's a lot to take in the certain amount of time that they gave you. I think like 2 minutes about. There was a lot of stuff to grab. Like even the beginning shot with the pumpkin or the jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah.
Like even that, you don't really have enough time. And honestly, with a lot of like horror franchises, Halloween especially, it's all about that fast pace, as AJ said towards the beginning of the podcast. Edge of your seat. The franchise is about edge of your seat. So obviously they can't draw it to take too long. So you kind of have to, pause it and be like, oh, that's what that is. And then you play it. Pause it. So I think you're never really going to have enough time to really, process a lot of this. I think the only way really to do it would be really to see it when it comes out, which I know me and AJ have been talking about doing that.
Yeah.
When it comes out, we want to be one of the first people to see it.
We're going to probably most likely watch it on Peacock, as much as the experience of going there into the theaters. But it's like, if it's on Peacock, I have an account for it. I figured we should just be able to watch it. It's just so easier. And like you said, I'm really excited to see how everything unfolds. So I have a theory. I don't know if you remember that theory I told you about, where I was like, of this Corey Cunningham guy, of who he could be if it turns out he's helping Michael and he's like the copycat killer. Because this is a long shot theory, but there's no way it can't be. And he kind of pointed up to me, and I even realized it wouldn't make sense. I had the theory that it was Jamie Lloyd's baby from Halloween 6 in the Thorn era timeline of the franchise, and he said, well, it wouldn't make sense because Laurie never existed. So maybe David Gordon Green's like, okay, to make more, surprising and, unexpected twists, they would take ideas from the other timelines of the movies and they'd put it into this one. So if, I'm not saying it will be true, but if it came to that, I'd be like, I would be surprised, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know how I would take it.
I think if the workaround they could do, because I shouldn't say remember, because a lot of people might not even know this. So when they rebooted the Halloween franchise a few years back in 2018 with Halloween 2018, they got rid of this storyline that Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, the final girl from the first film, were related. They decided to get rid of that in 2018, skip over it, so that means all the films that came after that first film to 2018, or let's just put it 2018, just to put it simple. They're all with them related. The only workaround that they could do with this franchise now, with this David Gordon Green trilogy, is they could have it where maybe Laurie had a long lost relationship with someone, and maybe this is the daughter or the son of Laurie Strode. You could say just flat out, this is Laurie Strode's child, and so there's there could be that. But I definitely think they're taking a lot of ideas from the Thorn trilogy, because if you think about it, in the Thorn trilogy, it was never really alluded to, but you can kind of say they put a new spin on the Thorn trilogy with this new film. In the original Thorn trilogy, 4-ish, 5, 6, you think about it, And the Thorn trilogy was basically that Michael was a part of this group of, I guess, higher beings.
Yeah, the Cult of Thorn.
So, if Michael was the killer, could we also assume that the people that were members of the cult were also killers, right? Could we also assume that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that. I mean, there could be a bunch of different things because
they all had the mark.
The Thorn logo, yeah.
And so if the Thorn logo on Michael, this is just all speculation here. But I think this is a very broad statement, but I'm going to go with it. As controversial as it might sound. I think David Gordon Green, to cap off his trilogy, is trying to bring a better, more modern take on the Thorn trilogy. That's my theory. Here's my statement for it. Here's my reasoning. In the Thorn trilogy, they are higher beings and they also kill. My guess is maybe they, of course, spread like a cult would to Michael. So Michael does the dirty work. But you could assume that before there was a Michael, if this was a cult, you could also assume that Michael didn't start the cult. Right? I mean, that just seems kind of...
it was mostly from theirs.
Yeah, and I feel like the cult has like a lot of like historic ties, like as a lot of cults tend to. So with that in mind, and that the cult, even before Michael, had a history of killing, could we assume that in the new film, Corey Cunningham has this secret tie to Michael, similar to how the cult had ties to one another, including Michael?
It could be. It could be like how, because they're saying that he's like, he could be like Corey Cunningham's character is supposedly, they're reading it's not true, but it could be a speculation that he's obsessed with Michael and what he does. So it kind of shows a little nod to Paul Rudd's portrayal of Tommy Doyle on Halloween 6. It could be that, or maybe he has something related to the cult. Maybe my theory of he's Michael's son. Maybe I don't know, because it couldn't. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't know if it's possible because I think it would get all confused and then we would probably want some back context. I don't know. His theory sounds pretty interesting. The theory I mentioned, it may be. I don't know. Maybe. Supposedly, I watched a guy on YouTube. He's saying that it's supposed to be like Christine. I don't know if you've ever seen Christine.
I have.
So the guy who restores the car, but he gets so obsessed with the car. They're saying it could be a thing like that, where it's like Corey Cunningham could be so obsessed with Michael, he might start doing because he got so obsessed with Michael, what he does every Halloween, killing people, like the madness and everything. It may get to Corey's head, and he's become so obsessed. So then he's like, okay, I'll do your dirty work, and then maybe they're saying that he does it, and all right. Michael maybe will have Corey go kill for him, wearing his costume, going about, and then Michael would stay in the sewers. Because remember, they said this was 4 years after kills. So this was 4 years, and he's been hiding in the sewers, so maybe he's waiting to get stronger, so that when the time's right, he could probably kill Corey, and then finish it off. So that way he could probably be truly unstoppable. I don't know. It could be taken in different ways. Now, this is going to be the big thing. And figured we can ask. Since that they're saying it's going to be the last movie of Laurie Strode Michael saga, they're saying there's going to be two different endings. Well, not two different. The ending is going to either upset people or like it. Now, would you think that both Michael and Laurie die? Laurie just dies, or they do like a fake out, and then, or maybe Allison will be the next one, maybe because they're supposedly saying that there's going to be a new era of it, so maybe she'll live to that one. I don't know. I personally think, this is just me, probably they're going to end it where Laurie dies, but they think Michael's dead, but he's probably going to live. Because, no one's going to want to kill Michael, because they've been doing this for 40 years. They're probably going to want to do as much as they can, but even if they do the newer, universe. But for this one, excuse me, I feel like they're going to probably kill Laurie She even said it's a hint. This is my theory. She hinted it when it's like, if the only way to stop him is to me to die, so she may maybe die. Hopefully that Michael will die. Who knows? Maybe we all might be fooled and both of them die. Because maybe all this time, because Laurie has been Michael's obsession for 40 years, sibling, ideology or not. So maybe after this movie, maybe Michael will die. Because, like, who else he's going to kill? Or maybe he'll go kill Allison. I don't know. That's just my take on it.
It could be taken multiple ways. I mean, how we could find out that maybe they were related all along.
Maybe.
That could be the hated ending of the saga. Or a different twist could be, what if this Corey Cunningham becomes the future Michael?
Maybe.
And Allison becomes the new
Laurie. It could be. I mean,
I could see a lot of people hating that.
I feel like not a lot of people like change. So since we're on the topic of that, I just, how do you feel that with all the movies that came out, the original timeline, the Thorn timeline, the one with H2O, then goes on to Resurrection, Rob Zombie, the Legacy timeline, or the 40 years later timeline, how does it you feel that, whenever a timeline comes out for these movies to switch it up, you get people who like it, who like change, but then you get people who are like, oh, it's not true to the original. But then, like, when the people who try something different, they're like, oh, why are they doing it different? They're straying away from the original. Or like, they should do better. Then it's like, you can't win. You don't get a best of both worlds.
True. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm a fan of the Rob Zombie films. I know that I'm in that small minority of people that
underrated
likes the films.
Vastly
I
underrated.
Like so. I know most people that just jump on one whenever one is mentioned. If there was a option, I don't know how offensive this could be considered, but if there was an option to choose which film of the Thorn trilogy was the best, people would most likely say one. Leave it at that then.
I mean, since you brought up 78, I remember you were telling me you're not a big fan of it.
I think I'd rather go into like a pretty, well, not a deep, like a relatively deep analysis into that. 78 is not a bad film. But what I'm saying is, if me and AJ talked about this, and honestly, I think this would be kind of cool to even just go over. If you took all of the release dates and all the numbers out of the Halloween films, and you just kept it as,
John Carpenter's Halloween.
And you said maybe that was the second Halloween.
Or just Halloween 2.
Exactly. What if Halloween 2 was Halloween 1978? Would 1978 still be that good of a film? Now, it is a good film in its own right, and of course, I'd be remiss to say it is the very first Halloween film. But the truth is just because it's the very first Halloween film, should we look over a lot of the flaws that have been perfected over the years in some of the other films? Because even some of the films that have came out have answered questions that we might have had about the original one. Now, a lot of those aren't welcome because Michael doesn't need a backstory. Michael doesn't need to talk. There's a few others, So it's stuff like that. Michael does. We don't need to know that Michael can impregnate things. I know that's other things. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it, I prefer to just look at it like 78 from just a visual standpoint. Not the fact that it's the very first Halloween, but I don't think it would be fair to just look at it as just the very first Halloween film. I get it is the very first one. But I feel like it's not right to all the other films if I'm just looking through it as the first. Of course the first is going to be the best. We already know that. It's set up the franchise. So I think to add like a different spin to it, how good is it when you just stack it up as its own film? Is 2 the better film? Someone could say H2O is the better film. I think H2O is a perfect sequel to the original. I think that. I think H2O is one of the best in the original timeline. I think H2O probably hits the closest to the first one.
I was of the opinion that, like I said, I have to watch it again to really to get a good analysis on it. But from a first watch, it was good. It was definitely like in the era, like in the '90s, where it was like Scream and like a lot of those movies were around. I liked the ending. They should have stuck the ending the way it was, where Laurie just chops off Michael's head. That's it. Resurrection should have not existed because that's just lame.
It is lame
To end that timeline. But I mean that's not a bad sequel. That would be like my number. I think that'd be like my number out of like my favorite like sequels of the original. I would say that's like my number 3. My number 2 would be 2018. Then number 3 for me would be watching 4. Number 3 would be Halloween 4. I love. Speaking of 4, oh my god, it's like okay. It's on the idea of like what timeline would you pick? How he would pick Rob Zombie, or the one with H2O. Me, I love the Thorn trilogy because I remember when I first watched Halloween, the franchise just in general. It was like what years ago. I was like in middle school, not elementary, middle school, high school, whatever. I think middle school, and I had cable and AMC do the horror movie marathons, and Halloween was there. Now, growing up, I heard about it. My parents wouldn't let me watch it, I was a kid. But then the Halloween movies were on, and I watched them, and I started watching them. I watched the original from 1978, then the sequel. Then 4, 5, and 6 came out. They were on, and I watched it, and something about those movies gravitated towards me. Now, I will say this, out of the movies of the Thorn trilogy, 5 is like my least favorite. I can't tolerate it. At the time, I thought it was cool, but now really getting back into it more and really, really analyzing, really getting a great idea of how, like, that movie and what really it is, I just don't like it. 4 was like the holy grail of that for me. Everything about it. What really, the Thorn trilogy, I will say, and 5 included, as much as I'm going to cringe saying that, every 3 movies, the one big thing, and 5 actually should be proud that I'm actually saying one good thing about it, because it's for the one thing I loved about the movie, but everything else sucked. But with 5 included in all of the other movies in the Thorn trilogy, what really they got down to a T was the autumn, like Halloween night feeling. So like Halloween 4, for example, good, since we're on that topic. The intro. You would think it's the Halloween score, like, the classic John Carpenter, classic piano, but they did it where it's like you hear a faint, like, eerie music in the background. And the camera shots of just showing, like, Midwest Chicago at that time really set the mood and set the tone. It was like a dark kind of, like, eerie, feeling, but it was like it was beautiful for like showing like the leaves and the wind and like the scarecrows and the pumpkins, and then especially the night shots with the fog. It was perfect. George P. Wilbur, underrated Michael Myers. I'm gonna put that right there.
Now we're talking.
George P. Wilbur.
That's one of my favorites.
He's top 3 for me would be George P. Wilbur. He did a really good job. I know people can complain, the mask was terrible, and he wore shoulder pads. It's like, doesn't matter. I think that Michael was intimidating, and how he was shot was really good. And it's like
he was shot.
I mean, he technically was, just like all of the other movies, but the way he the camera, the lighting he's in, that was a movie that I would just remember. It's like, I really like this film. And we're gonna skip 5 because I don't want to talk about 5, and then 6. 6 was George P. Wilbur's again. It was phenomenal. 6 was... A lot of people hate 6. I loved 6 because that was another movie in the Thorn trilogy, and especially watching all the other Halloween movies. When that one came on, I was really drawn to it because I know there's 2 different cuts of the movie. So I grew up watching... So he was telling me there's a hybrid where they take stuff from the producer's cut and the theatrical cut and combine it into one. when we watched it the second time around, when he watched it for the first time, I watched it. This was my second time, mind you. I saw the producer's cut, and they say the producer's cut is the best version for the story, and I would have to agree. But the theatrical cut, yes, the theatrical cut is garbage. I don't think it's garbage. Is it my favorite? No, because I favor the producer's cut more. But the theatrical cut was good for the kills. Now, George P. Wilbur does not play Michael in the theatrical cut for the reshoots. He's in the producers. But besides that, the kills were great. The mask was great. That curly hair that they did for that, and that mask and the lighting. The lighting was what really made that movie good. Like with 4 and 5. 6, they really did get another good job with the lighting. Now, the Thorn story, people hate it. People love it. I was in the middle. I didn't mind it. When I first watched it, I thought it was pretty interesting. Then I was like, eh. But at the same time, it kind of went back. You know what? I don't mind it. 5, I will say, they should have touched up on the Men in Black more instead of just showing just a couple second shots. That's it. But besides that, 4 and 6, best movies in the trilogy. Now, Danielle Harris, supposedly, I don't know if it's true, rumors are going around, she was talking, I think, with...
I think we should save it for the next one.
Okay.
I think we should just leave everyone on the edge of their seats. Pull a Halloween franchise tradition.
Okay.
Keep everyone on the edge of their seats.
All right.
Lucky for us, we can always just pause this and do another one, but you guys gotta wait.
Yeah, it'll be worth it, guys.
It'll be worth it. So, well, that's our thoughts. Any last thoughts on the Halloween ends?
No, I mean, I really hope this movie will go out with a bang, especially for the Laurie and Michael saga, how that's going to end, and just for the movie overall. I'm interested to see how this thing with Corey Cunningham's going to cut out, how the character development is going to be, and just overall how good the movie will be. I'm praying to David Gordon Green of Blumhouse. If you are hearing this, I doubt you are. You're probably doing better things right now. But if you do, please make this movie so good. Please. Me and him had to work our way watching all of these movies to get to this one. We love this franchise, so please do us a favor, and everyone who loves this movie, all of Halloween fans, I hope this movie comes out with a bang. And I'm honestly just ready to see fucking Michael just kick ass, man. Because, Michael is probably not only one of the most influential slasher icons of all time, but he literally is the most unique. Because I don't think, you get a guy who wears a white mask, like an emotionless, expressionless one, and just does what he does. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be excited. I'm probably going to have to buy myself a Halloween shirt just to have for myself. But for that, I'm excited. How about you?
I'm looking forward to it. I know there's a lot of negativity surrounding it. I don't care. I'm still going to watch it anyways. And I'm going to go in with a positive thing. All right. So that's it. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know how to end these. How do we end this?
I guess we'll just end it here.
All right.
So this was our first podcast. So whoever stuck around or joined and watched, we thank you. So since we're on the topic of the podcast, we're going to be doing this. Is really going to be a thing for fun. We're not making it. We're just wanting to do it because we love talking about anything. This is not just going to be about movies. Movies, but not just horror movies. It'll be action movies, comedy, anything, but also music, cars, sports, really, or really anything. Okay. So we just thought we'd just film this to kind of see how it would go. Well, seems that's doing good. We had a good conversation going.
Let me see how long we ended up doing.
Almost a half hour.
Wow, 33 minutes.
Yeah. So even if we just do half hour podcasts, maybe try to go for an hour, but even if we do half hour, So we appreciate everyone who took their time out of a half hour to watch it. The next one, we're probably just going to do it when we feel like it, because we try not to let it consume us as much. Because
I can agree.
We have done filming in the past, and it kind of took us away from actually wanting to hang out and do stuff. So we will do this as like a hobby of ours, not every time, but whenever we decide to do one. So,
Yep.
whenever you guys see it, feel free to jump in and, bring comments in, and we'll watch them after, and we'll bring up some points for the next one, whatever we do, whatever topic.
True. And honestly, on that topic, we might be doing multiple different topics within a specific one. This time, we decided to kick it off with Halloween Ends because that's hot right now. We liked it. It's almost Halloween, so it just kind of fit in. Next time, maybe we might finish Halloween talking, but I can't guarantee that's what the whole next podcast will be about. Yeah. Like AJ said, this is relaxed. We're going to have fun. And really the time limit, as you can see, we're just kind of going off, and who knows where it will go.
Yeah. So like he said real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. Expect different topics. It won't be the same thing all the time. It's just for this first podcast, and since it's Halloween, we figured we'd talk about this topic, but from this point on, we'll talk about different things. But even so, we'll talk about things on Halloween. We may talk about, all right, who's the best Michael Myers? Who's the most underrated? What were some underrated scenes or anything we'll still do in Halloween, but also other things we're really going to also do. So that way we can keep things going, and we don't bore you guys to death with the same things. We can just talk about different things, because there might be things out there that anyone's interested in, and for new things, for new people who want to get into these new things, we can help you out and give you some info. So
sounds good. So that's it. Hope you guys did enjoy. And we'll see you on the next one.
Yep.